Okay, I'm very sorry. I think uh, we will have to continue on the National Telegraph and will stay civil and professional. As you must have all noticed, you will now share extensively to every other WhatsApp group because I know a lot of people will be following by the Eric Tataw official page, but it seems there is an issue with that name, and so I could not uh, go live out there. So some people say the lighting is very poor. What we are gonna do now is that the lighting is indeed poor. I might have to switch to another machine, but for now, let's manage the lighting, get the message, understand exactly the situation, and I would start talking when we have at least half a thousand people watching live. We already have close to that amount in less than 2 minutes, and this is my official response to the things that have been happening. And I'm sure that because some people knew Eric Tato Live was going to come live and they had to obstruct in all its with all their might. I can't say exactly what happened, but we thank God for the backup. Of course, today's Sunday, uh, May the 5th, 2018, 19, I beg your pardon. And we have had a lot of rounds on social media regarding the situation in southern Cameroons, the letter from our president, His Excellency Sisiku Ayoktabe Julius. We have also had a write-up from Dr. Fontem, and we also saw what happened in Manu County, where a certain Kawa Yannick uh, actually is said to have defected. We are also getting reports about other situations, including discussions from generals like Nambere and Field Marshal and the rest of our people. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, it is my utmost wish to inform you that it is in the darkest moment of a man's life that success is outside the window. You must be aware of our circumstances and the fact that human life is extremely empowered by the situations surrounding them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this message very brief and straight to the point and to solicit your understanding because I've begged for God to give us all wisdom for us to understand the sincerity of our moves. Our fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, as you are all aware, we are taking an extra risk to do this live show on our official business page. But that notwithstanding, it is worth the risk. I must say here with in sincerity that the Ambazonian War of Independence is very unique. The circumstances of our coming to war with our Republic of Cameroon are also very unique. And we as a people, we are unique. Our plights are unique. And the manner in which we have been prosecuting this revolution is also unique. We have just about that number. I'm sure soon 1,000 people will join, which is a huge crowd given the fact that this show is more or less an impromptu because it was never announced on this platform. We are facing really huge challenges in trying to get our voices heard out there. But as a fighter, I have also said I am a Spartan. I will never ever surrender. Going forward, I want to address in clear terms situations that are rogging us and that a lot of people would seem to be confused. I think there is nothing to be confused about because I will talk about very lovable ideologies and theories today that are practical and empirical that will give you an understanding of your revolution. I must say in with all sincerity that I feel very gladdened that Southern Cameroonians are always thirsty and very hungry for the truth and for information that is palatable and that will satisfy their aspirations. Reason why, as an activist, as a freedom fighter, as a journalist, I have sworn on the grave of my late dad, and I profess on the lives of my family, especially my children, that I will always speak the truth to the people, no matter how difficult the situation might be. We will not be speaking truths based on ideologies that we particularly support because they are lined up behind persons that we look as demigods. There is not demigod in this revolution. And I want to just inform you that the independence of Southern Cameroons would not be given to you by Eric Tataw. It will not be given to you by Sisiku by Dr. Sako Ikome, by all the other activists, Joshua Carr, Tangachiri, Ashu Kinsiri, and the rest of the activists that you know. None of them would give you independence. Independence will come to you based on your conviction and the decision to support your aspirations. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was World Embassy Day, and we took time to obviously go out there at the Cameroon Embassy where we stepped and made our voices heard. Predominantly, and to be sincere, I want to thank my friend Atta who gave me a reminder note to that event, and also Michelle of the BAS who also sent me several messages to keep me abreast. I want to thank the other 3 Francophone activists from the BAS who were there to make sure that we join hands in destabilizing the dictatorial regime of Yaoundé led by Paul Biya. Let me say this very clearly to you that your independence will not be decided by a group of people in the prisons. Neither will it be decided by a group of people who sit in Maryland or those in Norway or those who are on Facebook. It will be decided by the collective determination of the people of Southern Cameroons. You see, a lot of people have died, and I don't want to cry any further because, crying is not going to solve anything. But I must tell all of you that as sincere as you want to remain to yourselves and to the cause that you believe in, you must remain categorically clear on the facts that will shape society and make Ambazonians believe in what they know best. And this will not be done by a group of people who only believe in their own personal interest. Whether you are Dr. Sako or His Excellency Sisiku or Kwanga or Bo Herbert or Professor Carlson Anyangwe or whosoever, the people of Southern Cameroons will not have you hijack their revolution because you believe that you are loved and cherished and that you think you have the support of the people. Support is given and support can be taken, and that is what everybody must understand. After all, I am not the inventor or probably the maxim from which this word came from. Nobody's above the revolution, and anybody who goes above the revolution will be thrown under the bus. Came from you, yourself, President, His Excellency Sisiku. Now, going forward, I want to categorically, as an activist, based on my honor, my reputation, and based on the support that you people have given me and the inspiration that I've drawn from God, I pray every time that each time I want to speak to the people of Southern Cameroons, God, give me the tongue to let the people understand and see the sincerity in my eyes. And if they could read through my heart, they will understand how much I love them, how much I hold nobody in my heart. Going forward, since we have over close to 1,000 soon hitting watching this show, I want to say here categorically clear that, I will start from the premise of Professor Carlson Anyangwe, which of course is my response to the letter written by His Excellency Sisiku. First and foremost, I want to say that yes, that letter is endorsed by Sisiku Julius, our president. I also want to say that it is what I call a tremendous intellectual dishonesty on the part of a very fine mind like Professor Carson Anyangwe to be supporting that kind of very high-placed evil in a letter that comes from jail from our incarcerated leader. You know, one of the persons that have supported Sisiku Julius, and I will play his music, and he will remain my president for life. Of course, this is Eric Tataw. We have supported him on this platform and given him the value that he deserves. But that notwithstanding, he's my tribesman. We are probably an hour away from each other, Condemn and Noelle, given the tar roads. But I will not base my judgments on tribalism, on instincts, or on some allegiance to the fact that this man is my tribesman. I will not base my judgment on the fact that he's my wife or my children or my mother or my sons, my daughters, or whosoever that is related to me. I will base my judgment on the conviction and the aspirations of the people and the best wish of God Almighty. Without say, ladies and gentlemen, as an activist, I completely, absolutely, in all earnest, condemn in the strongest terms the letter from our president in jail. That letter is a path of destruction that, if not because of the love that the people of Southern Cameroon have for you, His Excellency Sisiku Julius, that would have jeopardized your popularity. But however, we want to tell you that we love you, we stand behind you because we understand that mistakes are bound to be made. That notwithstanding, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you people that this is a moment of reflection. You see, Professor Anyangwe, in his force in defending the wrongdoing of our president, Sisiku Julius, Professor Anyangwe said that Mandela was giving directives from jail. He also went further by saying that people cannot stay in the diaspora and want to lead. I want to say that before today, Professor Anyangwe, you have been contributing from the diaspora. And it's going to be a catastrophe on your personality. It's going to be an insult to your intelligence by trying to condemn the role the diaspora plays in revolution. I want to draw your attention to the recent ousting of President Omar al-Bashir, and to let you know that the Sudanese diaspora played the greatest part in inspiring and instigating the revolution. Professor Carson Anyangwe, you cannot be very indifferent to the recent pronouncements of Tibor Nash, the Undersecretary for African Affairs for the United States of America, who applauded the Anglophone Ambazonian diaspora. And you would remember that if the diaspora was not such a key factor in this particular movement, Paul Biya would not be doing everything to get the people back to the jails in Condemn. And remember that one of the things when Tibor Nash went to Cameroon, the journalist was asking that the people in the US, are you going to get them repatriated? And he said to them, no, we cannot get people who have not committed crimes against the government of the United States repatriated. And these are things that, as Eric Tataw, I have researched widely, and I've told many of us when I did some live shows in front of the FBI that you will not be repatriated based on your utterances on the Cameroon government that has been genocidal and that has been killing people. Going forward, Professor Carson Anyangwe, it is actually the height of intellectual dishonesty for a professor of your kind to say that people cannot lead from the diaspora. I want to also inform you that Nigeria is a diaspora. Those in Nigeria that are also in the diaspora. And the government, the interim government that you today support, that's in jail, was arrested in Nigeria. And Nigeria is not ground zero, and Sisiku and any other person led from the diaspora. I want to give you an example again of the case of Zimbabwe. The man Emerson now is nicknamed the Crocodile. When he wanted to take power, he first of all left and went to the diaspora before he came back. You can name many of those people. The list is long, but I don't want to waste our time on that. In the models of revolutions, governments remain very primordial, and it is the arrangement of the government that will adjudicate the case of a particular country that is battling for sovereignty, like in our case. I want to let us know that Bargansville will be holding a referendum soonest, and they have just less than a quarter of a million people. By a quarter of a million, I mean they have about 250,000 people or less, and they will be the next independent country in the days ahead. Southern Cameroonians, I'm not baffled that you're a little bit confused. That is because most often, social media has, had a greater part of our people. But this is a time for truth. I want to say that President Sisiku Ayoktabe Julius, everything you said in the letter is probably true. You're very correct to express your hottest feelings as far as the issues of this revolution are concerned. You are very right. And this is a moment of reflection for us to look at the administration of Dr. Sako as well. They say there is no smoke without fire. You must also look at what they call pro causa, non causa, cause and effect. What pushed Siseko from saying this and all of those things. We must put all of those things on the table in order to get our revolution on track and to move it away from the hands of the distractors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Anyangwe was also right when he said Mandela was given directives from jail, but he was almost completely wrong, or almost dishonest if he refused to identify the model in which Mandela used in giving instructions from jail. Mandela didn't write a letter that was explosive, a letter dissolving his own government or his own leadership that he left behind. Since time immemorial, we have said, and we still want to repeat in firmness, that Sisiku Ayoktabe Julius is our president. But the modus operandi of relating or reflecting his intentions on upgrading his government was quite wrong. And any honest person will condemn it, because at this crucial time of this revolution, we do not need such letters. But as well, I think that Dr. Sako cannot also make very key appointments time and again without consulting Sisiku. I'm not sure he would have asked that, my president, this is what we have on the list. This is what we want to change. You have any suggestions? You have any key people of interest? I think the government of Dr. Sako has largely believed in itself, and they are living in a vacuum. And that is why it is important for us all to point out these issues as Southern Cameroonians, where we must talk to ourselves as brothers. You see, I have said to myself that the time has come, because when you're raised above what you believe you would ever be, I knew that I could contribute my quarter in this revolution by trying to speak for the oppressed, but I didn't know that I would be having people waiting to hear from me. I believe that the reason is because Vox Populi, Vox Dei, because I believe that I must articulate your positions. I've listened to you, all of you, what you want, and this is exactly the position of the people. Going further, Dr. Fontem released what I want to call the craziest letter, trying to remove the IG, he calls it the IG of Dr. Sako, from the list of Southern Cameroon Liberation Council. You see, I told Dr. Fontem in earnest, he's a fine brain, but we must understand that mistakes are bound, and it only takes a real man to come out and apologize, and we hope to see that apology and for him to kick back into action the emotions of the people that he have shattered, and the belief and trust that people had in him, thinking that the Southern Cameroon Liberation Council was going to bring something mighty to the poor Southern Cameroons. Going further, fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, it is with great honor that we must understand that there is no way in this revolution anybody can hijack it. I want to further address myself to the group of people of the APNC who converged on Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in open space where there was freedom in the United States of America. I know that you once dissolved the same IG and it didn't work, and you thought that Siseko could play the trick. It's not going to work, because Siseko does not have the instrument to enforce dissolving the IG, because activists that are popular and that have the huge following do not believe in that letter from jail. Do we distance ourselves from the letter from jail? Any true activist who is actually having the people at heart must obviously say that, you know what, this letter is wrong. So APNC, 33 of you or more could not succeed in dissolving the IG. Siseko and 9 people in jail will not be able to dissolve the same IG. However, we accept that Dr. Sako must look deep into the mirror and look how to augment the situation. I will say a lot of things here today, some that will trigger a lot of people to say a couple of things. So Dr. Fontem should know that his letter is out of place. And for people who have become so intellectually dishonest or probably they are just ignorant of the situations of diplomacy and issues that will partake to sweetening the revolution. It will only entail that you speak the truth. I listened and read some comments that some so-called intellectuals and master students in whatever academic field that we have never seen them graduating, they were talking on backing Dr. Fontem that he is right to have taken out the IG from the group of the Southern Cameroon Liberation Council. I asked them a few questions that what is their problem? What is their business in the Southern Cameroon Liberation Council? Why do you now endorse Dr. Fontem for taking out the IG of Dr. Sako when you never endorsed the Southern Cameroon Liberation Council? You called Dr. Fontem an enabler, and today you are supporting the ideas of that enabler because you always get frustrated and you're hoping to always play divide and rule and looking for which other avenue you're going to take to skip on your enemy. To you, everybody is an enemy, and everybody is just an enemy depending on who you're using to fight that person. I address myself to these people who are listening to me and to let you know that Fontem's vote is almost infinitesimal, it's insignificant. In fact, it is a dash, like it is a pin in a trip of sand. You can't see it. It's going to be very difficult. In fact, a pin can even be very big in a trip of sand. It is something that you cannot explain, because take for example, in the UN, how many member states are there? You can count. And when you have member states and one person comes and says that, you know what, all of us should start using dollar, it is never going to work, because it will only take more than half of the member states in the UN to pass that decision. That is why the decision by Francophonie or other countries to move out of the CFA has been largely unsuccessful, because other countries are opposing. Until there is a consensus by more than half, then you begin to agree. So what Dr. Fontem said is wrong, and we hope that he's going to come and apologize as a noble man. Going forward, I want to address myself to my president, His Excellency Sisiku Julius, that there is what we call endorsements. You cannot be seen as endorsing people who have been vilified by the same people. You know that the likes of Atta Milan, although we as a people, we cannot say with certainty that Sisiku talks with Milan, because it only remains a farce until you have really hard evidence to prove that. But going forward, we want to work on the basis of assumption that, Milan has been vilified. Milty Taka and the rest, most of the people in South Africa who are of the scope that have been vilified. And, all these people were vilified by the same people who are supporting them today. How is it possible that Milty Taka will be the one to read some breaking news from the president? Mr. President, that was an attempted coup d'etat that didn't work, because if you want something to be authenticated, you have your TV station, you have a communication officer that is operating on you, operating for you. So you're supposed to get down there. You have activists that you trust. We're supposed to look at it. So endorsements are very important in prosecuting revolution and listening to people, because you see, like most companies, when the rating of an artist, musician is dropping, they take the musician off their brands. I'll give you an example of Ari Kelly. You see how many companies have taken Ari Kelly off. That no, don't want you to advertise us anymore because your reputation is at stake. So each time you have a good reputation and you mix with a bad person, obviously your reputation is endangered. I want to say I might only share a table the next time with Dr. Fontem if he apologizes to the people, because if he does, we are going to continuously be friends and he can do something greater for the revolution. Don't kick a man out once he makes a mistake. Kick him out the third time, because that is the rule of engagement in forgiving people. So the people of South Africa, the scope, they have been vilified by the same people of a group called the AGC, where they have said times without number that, oh, this man is bad. In fact, the 90% of the pressure to dismiss Milty Takan came from this group, because they said Milty Takan is related to Milan, he's Milan's friend. And since they already gave Milan a bad name, they think that, oh, it is important for you, Dr. Sako, to kick out Milty Takan and stuff like that. Now, let me be clear with all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I do not expect everybody to buy the opinions of the things I'm saying here, but I think anybody who is reasonable will accept that we have a re-truncated revolution at this time that is also based on the present leadership. I think I've made my point that the IG will not be dissolved based on a letter from jail. It can never be dissolved based on that letter. It would continuously function based on the people's aspiration, what the people want. And every other person that's a Southern Cameroonian must understand that it is predominantly important for all of us to remain focused on this particular agenda. Going forward, we represent the flag. We believe only in the flag. And there is nobody that can destroy your revolution. You have all the time in the world to put your acts together, to stay committed, to understand that the UN Security Council will be talking about your issue, to understand that the AU is now begging to talk about it, to understand that the UN is going to Cameroon, the Human Rights Watch, they are writing reports about how the government of Cameroon is restricting human rights investigators from getting into the country. You also have reports from refugees, and everything is changing. You will have independence because you believe in justice. See, our case is unique because it is the case of justice. The people of Southern Cameroon believe in justice, and there is nobody who can deny people who are just. People who are just, they believe in the circumstances that bind them to their justice. See, let me tell us something. Our president articulated a lot of points in the letter, but the manner in which the points were delivered, because that to me is not a decision, it's like an open letter to Dr. Sako, but those are points that they would have discussed. But I also want to believe that, see, please, this is not a time for people to pay allegiance to Sako or to Sisiku. It is a time for you to have an open mind and look in the mirror. The IG will never be destroyed, that's a fact. But we also want to remind people that the IG also needs to step up its game. I will look at sincere things and let all of you understand. Whether or not you like it, contributions have dropped tremendously because many people believe as at now that the IG misappropriated funds. And you cannot have the likes of Professor Carlson Anyangwe, who was supposed to be like the cleansers in the revolution, trying to behave as though they're trying to support Sisiku on the wrong thing. Sisiku is always right because he's our president. But his approach, that was an advice, a counsel to Dr. Sako, but the approach was wrong. And we must stand up because we, as a people, will not accept anybody to do otherwise to our IG. You see, all the people today who are running their mouths and going helter-skelter on social media and saying that, oh, Sisiku is right, he wrote the letter from jail. I want them to bring me proofs. I mean, when I talk proofs, I mean hardcore proofs in videos and pictures. Since the 5th of January 2018, when our president, His Excellency Sisiku Ayoktabe Julius, was kidnapped from Nara Hotel, Nigeria, where have they ever protested? How have they ever called for the release of Sisiku? Just on the 5th, we celebrated the first anniversary of His Excellency Sisiku Ayoktabe Julius. They were on social media saying all sorts of things to collapse that day. None of them ever supported their ideology. In fact, most of them had loved Sisiku is dead. But today, because somebody came up, and is representing the people, they think, oh, he must drown. Dr. Sako has done a good job so far. A very excellent job. He has, like Barrister Fu said, kept the fire burning, and he's probably also one of the most wanted people by La République du Cameroon. But Southern Cameroonians, we cannot also deny that this gives us an opportunity to have a frank talk with the people of Southern Cameroon on the leadership of Dr. Sako. I am not in any way proposing that he be removed as IG president, but I'm saying that every Southern Cameroonian should look deep in the mirror. I don't have the capacity to ask somebody be removed as an interim president because I'm just a person. But I have to throw opinions that are very well constructed and informed so that you'll be making very clear decisions. But at the end of this show, I want you to put one thing in mind, that nobody can take away your IG and nobody can take independence away from you. Now, contributions have dropped tremendously. And everybody, if not most of the people, including me, we hold the interim government responsible for causing donor fatigue because of the way my trip to Buea was managed. Coincidentally, we support this government, but some people would say that Dr. Sako has apologized on my trip to Buea and we should let it go. And I've told them on several occasions that you are wrong. Because, when you start eating food, when there's food on the table, it is a process that you start. You will not bring the food on the table if you don't want to start a process. If there is food on the table, once food is served and you say you eat, you would have to eat. And if you don't finish the food, the plate has to be taken away. It's a process that must be completed. Why am I saying this? It's because the process of rectifying the situations around my trip to Buea have just been left on the balance, and apologies will not be needed to solve that problem. Reactions will be needed, and that is a fact. You see, when the IG of Dr. Sako explained elaborately to us the reasons why they would not, that all accounts are classified, we demanded severally, myself and Joshua Carr, on the need for the president or the IG to have put a substantial amount of information out as per who are these leaders who haven't collected money to do whatever thing with our money. But that information was long. Everybody was insisting that it is indeed classified, and we have all understood that well, I will just reply very quickly to our sister in UK who said I'm being ridiculous by blaming the Dr. Sako and the IG for donor fatigue. I want you to know one thing, my sister. You're a friend and you support me, I support you. But this is the time for frank talk. Yes, I want to let you know that I can blame the IG because that is what I support. That's the government that I believe in. I can blame them for donor fatigue and to propose at the end of this live show how we can augment for people to contribute. Let me tell you one thing, Sister Ken. You work with Amber TV. You're doing a great job. Nobody's paying you. But if you want to be objective and honest, do not lean on the fact that you will not blame the government because you support the government. Fidelia Amber is saying that we can go start from Skapak. Yes, we should. But let me stay focused on the point where we are now, which is I'm talking about donor fatigue on the IG. Whereas I've condemned everything that Sisiku did. Some people said we should forget about my trip to Buea. It is not closed, and I will explain to you with logic why it can be closed. We are talking to ourselves, and this is a rebirth in the revolution where we have to be frank to each other. Sister Ken, you listen to me at this juncture why I say we're blaming our IG for donor fatigue, because that is the government that we believe in. Who do you want me to blame? You or the other groups? They are not important. And that's why I hold the IG responsible. You see, I am participating in 99% of the fundraisers in America and elsewhere online. And people complain to me, they talk to me why they contribute. Some tell me why they're not contributing. And everybody who is, not contributing is saying that it's because they did this with my trip to Buea. But the other alternative platforms, they have also helped to vilify and also set in donor fatigue. We cannot deny that. Now, let me explain to you one thing. To me, Skapak will be revisited. I am not much into Skapak. I'm much into the government that I believe in. Somebody said my trip to Buea was closed in Berlin. That is a lie. The government of Dr. Sako would have, by force, as a matter of our right to give us accounts for my trip to Boya. Let me explain why. I use the anecdote of the food on the table, and this is where I go to. I am one of the few persons that have raised the highest amount of money in this revolution for the shortest time that I've been here. Everybody from Sisiku's wife to the Lebialen people to the Bafu people, everybody, they know that when I raise, I give the money, I don't touch a dollar. Now, let me say something, Sister Madeleine, why we will not have to move on. You know, when the IG said that the accounts of my trip to Boya were classified, after this live show, you'll feel very relieved and you'll be happy to contribute again. When they said my trip to Boya was classified, they stayed on that for a long time. And people were beginning to buy the idea that yes, it was indeed classified. And we were on that train that my trip to Boya is classified. And everybody that was making noise, like the opposite camps, they were only making just noise. But that account was declassified by the very IG when Secretary Chris Anu came and started talking about money. In fact, it was Secretary Chris Anu that said that Tabenyang was not allowing himself to be audited, and that they have not paid bills for TV, and that they were doing this and doing that. And that gave a lot of people the reason why we are now at this position. Tabenyang came and defended himself and put out much more information, which was somehow a good thing to the public, but a blunder to the government. And then Dr. Sako came and solidified the declassification of the my trip to Boya by telling the people that I'm going to bring audits, internal audits, external audit, and all of those things. We were watching and listening. And all of a sudden, you cannot keep the people up waiting for an audit, and you come and say, you know what, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work like that. Sister Magdalene, and you, Sister Ken, if you are Christians or any other religion, you're watching me at this moment, let me be clear with you that confession is confession. And after confession, you do penance. You do penance. If you say my trip to Boya is history, I want to assure you that it's going to be difficult for people to contribute. The government has the responsibility to ensure that we as a people, we come together to understand what happens to our money. I want to let you know, in my life, I don't believe in lying. At this crucial moment of the revolution, what you believe is the truth. You shouldn't believe in cover-ups. You know, we must understand one thing. You can't just come and say, oh, you want to apologize, you know, because we as a people, somebody said, Eric, you weren't in Berlin. I don't need to be in Berlin to tell you the truth, Brother Cantona. I don't need to be in Berlin to let you know that what Sisiku wrote is wrong. I don't need to be in Berlin to tell you what you should believe in. If you're truthful to yourself, you must, as a matter of fact, I am sorry if I'm exaggerating, but I am saying that it's important for the people who contributed their money to see the audit report. My brothers, don't get me wrong. I love you, and I want us to be on the same path. I want the people who are making noise to stop making noise. You see, embezzlement and misappropriation is human being oriented. You know, people, as a matter of fact, would at any time believe in what they believe in because they are not told the truth. I didn't say Dr. Sako embezzled money, but he embezzled money if he did wrong signatures and other people ate the money. He can only vindicate himself by coming to say, you know what, I gave $30,000 to this person. I gave 50,000 here. And with proofs, we're all going to put it and put all of that together. You would want to believe a fact that if there is one person who will tell you the truth, it would be me. And if there's one person that will decide to believe in the truth, it would be you. We condemn in earnest the procedures leading to the writing of the letter from jail, and that letter is null and void, and that it doesn't exist, and that Sisiku is wrong, to have written the letter in that manner. But any objective Southern Cameroonian should also be in a position to accept that the concerns raised by Sisiku in that letter are very genuine. They are the same concerns that we all have raised. We must accept that if Dr. Sako wants to appoint government, he can consult with Sisiku. If Dr. Sako wants to do certain things, he can consult with other people. That is very, very important. Fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, let it be known to you that your revolution is on track and you have won 100%. We urge the interim government of Dr. Sako to talk to Sisiku and understand his position, what he thinks, the counsel that he can get from them. And let me tell you something. The IG is nobody's property. I have told you people many times to your faces that I support the government, not an individual. I support the institution, not Sako, not Chris Ano, not Tabinyang, not Sisiku. And this show today should tell you my position in how I hold the Southern Cameroon's people in my heart. Let me be clear with you, my brother, all are full. A live show wouldn't be damaged because you need to hear the truth about all of this thing. This is a reply to Sisiku's letter. And everything that I'm saying here is within context. Because these are the things that people analyze in the letter. Based on the fact that money was raised and people didn't see the money. Based on the fact that Sisiku is wrong to say that, this and this and this and that happened. Let us be clear with all of you. We have refused in earnest and we are rejecting in totality what Sisiku wrote in that letter. We are, however, saying that there is need for our government to sit and have a real deep calculation and reflection on the ways going forward. Let me be very clear with all of you. I think I would listen to some of the things that some people are saying so that I can address, their concern. Okay, I think everything everybody is saying is that's why this page is open. Is clearly a demonstration of the way they feel. And if you have time after this to watch the comments and see what's happening, I think if we have issues that are interrelated to issues that you didn't appreciate, we can always reshape a position based on popular demand. But that going forward, I think we are clear on these particular issues about the need for people to actually give addresses to issues that are significantly important. You do not close a wound with gauze when you have not put necessary treatment in the wound. It's very important. Saying that we left Berlin and we have closed this is like putting gauze on a wound without any treatment. That wound is never ever going to get healed. Now I will leave it at that, and then I'll come to this other very important issue about education and the revolution. A lot of our compatriots in the diaspora have said that, they are doctors in this, masters in this, and all of those things. We want to say very clearly that this revolution is prosecuted not by people with doctorate degree. 99% of our brothers who are fighting on the ground, are actually not going to school at the level that we expect and that we preach here in the diaspora. They are just living their normal lives, but they are defending homeland. Take, for example, a lot of the people who claim to be doctors and all of those things, with due respect to all the doctors, with due respect. But we must also respect those people back home, Now, let us be clear. We cannot articulate a position in a revolution based on our intelligence. We'll articulate it based on the aspiration of the people. And so we must appreciate the people on ground zero who are fighting to liberate homeland, but who have not gone to school to the level that some of us were privileged to go. In that way, we'll keep their faith and will not continuously remind them that they're fighting for people who are educated and all of those things. I will go to this guy they call Kawak Yannick or Kawa Yannick in Manu, that a lot of people say that, oh, he has defected, and many people are using that as a point to say, you know what, oh, county by county has failed and all of this and all of that. Let us be clear with all of you that to sustain a revolution, you must understand that people must defect. We have had many, over 400 defected soldiers already in the United States on asylum. We have had many defected soldiers from Ivo, General Ivo of blessed memory, to General Yeke, and many others that have defected and they're fighting on the lines with the Amber Boys. And La Republic has not made a big deal out of it, out of the fact that their soldiers have defected. But why would some of our compatriots take the pictures of defected soldiers and try to make it? Kawa Yannick is just one man, and there are thousands of Manu children who are fighting to liberate homeland. So please distance yourself and forget about the so-called Kawa Yannick. Even amongst the apostles of Jesus, they were what they call Judas. Kawa Yannick is our own Judas. Ayeke and Ibo, they were also Judases to La Republic du Cameroon because they betrayed the government and then they came over to join the Amber Boys. Going forward, before I end the show, we're talking about shutdown. And there's a shutdown in southern Cameroon that we have announced that there will be a shutdown from the 18th, 19th, and 20th, and all of those things. Whatever be the case, some people are trying to articulate shutdown on the 21st, 20th, and 19th. We will not have time to argue on stuff like that. If the people think 20th, 19th, 20th, and 21 is good, so be it. But let me articulate a position, a popular position of the people. Because remember that a shutdown in southern Cameroon will be done by the counties, not by any group. This shutdown campaign started more than 2 months ago by our then platform. We pushed it all along to ensure that people understood what exactly is going on, and the shutdown Pond along of Meme says is going to be 19th and 20th, and that is how it's going to be. I think that's the position that we have articulated. So from the 18th, make sure you get everything ready, and from the 20th and from the 19th and 20th, there will be shut down, and that will be enhanced by the counties. It is not a group. It is not ABC or AFD or AGW. No, nobody should take credit. The people of Bafut are already mounting up, those in Bali, in Manu, those in Meme. It is not something that people want to make like they want to take credit now. Shutdown is an issue of the counties. It is not an issue of any particular group. And we'll do a special show in the days ahead to let you understand the reason, the exact reason why those shutdowns are taking place. And it's just coming just too soon. And you must remember one particular thing, that 20th May is something that shouldn't exist in southern Cameroon, and you have the obligation to protect that particular privilege by boycotting that particular event. So you've heard it from county coordinators. It is 19th and the 20th, and people from their various counties are going to work hard to ensure that they will be shut down. It is not any group. We don't believe us in any groups existing anywhere. The people of Le BLM, they were going to shut down Le BLM. Those in Mezam, they will shut down Mezam. Those in Fako will shut down Fako like they have done. Those in all other counties will be working hard to shut it down. So it is not a matter of a group. There is no group existing on Ground Zero that will shut down Ground Zero. It is going to be the collective responsibility of all the individual counties that will be doing simultaneous shutdown using their defense forces. And that should be a clear point and a clear reason why all of us will be contributing in our various counties to ensure that that shutdown goes forward. Lydia B, just to address you, I want to let you know that we have the finest government in a revolution. The IG is never a mafia, because Eric Tataw will not support anything that is mafia. Neither was the IG of Dr. Sisiku a mafia, nor that of the Dr. Sisiku a mafia, nor that of Dr. Sako. Remember that before, when the IG of Sisiku was there, the same people who are now trying to condemn the IG of Sako did not recognize the IG of Sisiku. They vilified Sisiku. They said he was a JJC, he was a newcomer, and that the government was wrong. Today, they are supporting the same Sisiku who is signing, dissolving the IG, and they are supporting that. No, it's true. Let's go back to the IG of Sisiku at the time when Dr. Sako was Dr. Common Sense. But we, the people of Southern Cameroon, we have said no. We have refused. If Dr. Sako would decide that, okay, for example, that I want to step down based on the principle of higher good, we ask ourselves that who is going to take over? That's a big question. Going forward, I've told many people that there are leaders and there are leaders. And apart from Siseko as it stands, we have all the leaders that we have evaluated, assuming that Dr. Sako is 100% evil, like they say. I agree with them. But the other people are 101%, 102%, 110% evil. So as at this moment, the better evil is Dr. Sako, and we prefer to deal with the devil that we know than the angels that we don't know. So we will be looking at exactly what will be unfolding in the future, and we'll be supporting the aspiration of the people, and we'll keep the people glued to the truth, and we'll let this idea of Dr. Sako take a great look at the government, try to move a lot out of the people who are making the list look redundant, consult with His Excellency Seko Ayoktabe before appointing people, get a good treasury that will be endorsed by the leadership in jail, so that it's going to increase the momentum. And this will only be done once they give us a clear account of what is happening, or the audit statement. And if money has been misappropriated after we have had the audit statement, they can now come and apologize. And Siseko and the rest in jail should endorse a very collective treasury that will help the poor of Southern Cameroons to put out funds there. So people will not put out their funds if they don't understand exactly what is happening. We have also had news about the things that are happening in Kupe Maninguba, about the Bishop of Mamfe going there to open a church. I think that whosoever is using that for politics will only benefit on the fact that we, the poor of Southern Cameroons, we do not articulate any violence against the church, against communities. We think that the bishop has the right to reopen that church, but we will not take any provocation after the reopening of that church from any politician who is using that for political gains. I think I needed to articulate this particular point so that everybody should understand. So that is my point, and I want to say it very clearly that I do not support the letter from jail. I condemn the letter. I also say that there are cracks within the Sako IG that must be contained, because that is the only thing we have now. We do not have any division within our IG, but we have problems that are inherent and that are, of course, a characteristic to any other government. Even the United States of America had issues when they were going to talk about the war, and it went on and forth and all of those things. So we do not expect that you have a smooth revolution. If people are only crying that Dr. Sako should resign, I want to let you all know that, yes, I can hold that same view with you, but what power do we have? We have to convince people enough to see that, oh, the social media should be crowded by the very strong Sako follower to start saying that, oh, Dr. Sako, you must resign. But in the issues of resignation, you must understand that it's a matter of will. Dr. Sako should measure what they call the principle of good, of higher good. If I go, is much money going to come in? If I go, is the revolution going to be destroyed? Those are things that we can all sit as public opinion and then try to evaluate and look at what's going on. I want to say it very categorically clear that the IG is not Sako's property. Sako can go anytime, anybody can come in anytime, and you who are surrogates of Sako, surrogates of the IG, or surrogates of Sisiku, remember that Eric Tataw is saying that the IG is nobody's property, as the same way that we, the people, we will not also take things that will help in destroying our IG. We can take decisions based on very clear and empirical evidence, but will not take decisions based on the fact that you who hate Sako, you are pumping out hate speech. I am of the opinion that the entire IG should be reviewed, and that Dr. Sako should be in close contact with Sisiku when he's taking major decisions like appointing government or people in the government that Sisiku left for him, or in making great financial disbursements. These are issues that we must all know, and we as a people, we will not sit back and only watch a group of people trying to destroy the government that we have put in place. Let me be very clear with all of you that those of you who are writing Sako is sacked on this platform, it only ends on the word he's sacked. It cannot be affected until we give enough reason and you help to buy me over with true ideas. Listen, putting in quote, buy me over with true ideas. Give me a lot of reason to believe why I think that Dr. Sako should be sacked or should resign. But as at now, I think that he should also look himself in the mirror, deeply in the mirror, because we will not deny, as a matter of fact, that this leadership has greatly it has had some very serious issues that I call for concern, and people must understand that no matter what happened, we as a people, we would obviously put our hands on deck. Let me be clear with you all once again, and I want to address issues that some people said, oh, because they saw me with Dr. Fontem. I want to tell you that when we were discussing with Dr. Fontem, I made my points very clear in front of Professor Lumumba, and I told Dr. Fontem, never dare talk about this IG. Only look for ways that you can augment. The fact that, let me get... Okay, perfect. Some people ask very important question that I'm going to answer. When you say that you're consulting somebody to make recommendations, it doesn't mean that all recommendations that Sisiku will make to Dr. Sako is going to take it. Recommendations simply are given for appraisers. When you recommend, you give it for people to appraise. When you sign a recommendation, it doesn't mean that somebody is going to. If Sisiku says appoint Milan, obviously he cannot say that because he knows that people don't endorse Milan, and Dr. Sako will take it back and say, you know what, this is what they want us to do, this is what we want us to do, this is what we think we should do. And he's also going to, that way, Sisiku will be seen like he's being respected. It's just reaching out to somebody. Your wife can go to a shop to go and buy something, but he's simply going to tell you that, oh, sweetheart, let me buy donut from this shop. That is giving you respect. It's not like a wife that will just walk out and say he wants to go and buy, he wants to go and buy donut and stuff like that. I want to let you all know one thing that is very, 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 very clear and straight. Before the letter came out, we, the people of Southern Cameroon, you listen that they used to have meetings in jail and they were consulting Sisiku on issues. They were consulting Sisiku on issues. So we think that for us to have a clear window on how things are being moved, it's important just to ask. Mandela was giving directives in jail, but the manner that he gave the directive in jail were wrong. Let us be honest with ourselves. This is a frank talk, and we expect that we can make mistakes while we deliver our speeches. So my opinion is that the interim government remains unshakable, but we think that in issues that are great and going on forward, people in jail should be consulted just as a sign of respect, and that is exactly, my point. So if I don't tell you the truth, nobody's going to tell you the truth. I've told Dr. Fontem that he's completely wrong about his letter, and I have made my point in the beginning of this show that I might not be sharing the table with Dr. Fontem until he rectifies his position, because I'll be endorsing him for the things that he has done wrong to the poor of Southern Cameroons, and this exactly should be our position. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be very clear. Yes, my sister, or is a brother, EBAS, Sisiku has proven to be a dictator from the letter. That's why we condemn it. That is not right. If you follow this show from the beginning, we said that 33 people in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania of the APNC did not succeed in dissolving the IG. Sisiku and 9 of his cabinet members cannot also succeed, because this is the revolution for the people. So let us be very clear on those facts. We need to be clear and truthful to ourselves that there is need for Dr. Sako to consult with Sisiku like they were doing before he made appointments. You want to agree that if Dr. Sako and Sisiku are saying the same thing, it would obviously give us more strength than having this man saying this, and this man saying this, and this man saying that. So that is my position. And I want you to forgive the things that I've said wrong in the course of this show. I'm just a player. You are the coaches. You might have seen one or two things that I've said that are not correct. And, you would obviously want to caution me, like my friend Cantona is saying. I'm not playing safe. I'm trying to tell you the truth, that for us to go forward and to avoid all these people who are distracting us coming to support Sisiku, is that they must see Sisiku and Dr. Sako working in same ranks. They will not see them working separate ranks. So that's my position. So in the days ahead, we'll see what is going, Okay. Let me look at some of the. Okay, thank you so much. We'll end at this point. If there are other things we'll address in future, we want to say that as Eric Tataw, National Telegraph, we distance ourselves from that letter from Sisiku. The letter is null and void. It is a poor letter, and let me get mommy comfort. Say, Eric, I recommend you talk with Dr. Sako, find out say whether okay, thank you very much, been consulting Seco with or not. I think that's pretty good, mommy comfort. I think we're going to look at that. You cannot work. Ayoktabe already destroyed this relationship. No, I don't think so. I think that everybody is entitled to a mistake, and that is why we want to say that the cabal surrounding Sisiku will not work. They have not had their way. That's why we have come out as activists to condemn it. If I were impartial, I would come and say, oh, you know what, and played the same kind of manipulative game that other activists have played on you before to say that, you know what, yes, this what Professor Anyangwe said is true, and I'll quote you things that Mandela didn't say because I know you'll not have time to go read it. So thank you so much. I'll read all your comments, and we'll come back to see what's going to happen. But this IG will not be dissolved, but Dr. Sako will have to take a deep review in the situation and some of the points that have been raised by Sisiku Ayoktabe Jesus. Thank you very much once more. Forgive the wrong things that we have said in the course of this live show. Of course, many of you were watching, and we did not expect that we could have everybody agree with us. Other people are suggesting who wrote the letter. We don't care about who wrote the letter, my brother, but it is very clear that the letter makes no sense. It has no impact. That is why all of you are against the letter, including me, including Carr, and any other activist who is of good standing will condemn such kind of letter as being destructive to the revolution. Thank you so much. God bless you. We're going to leave at this juncture. One is short so that everybody's going to listen. Share to all your groups. For those of you who are watching, you can always go to our National Telegraph page. As you're watching now, you click like and follow so that everybody is going to be able to follow this page. Thank you so much. We'll talk more and make other responses when we talk to Dr. Sako and to other people in the days ahead. Our reaction is based on our beliefs and exclusively on what most of our followers believe. This is frank talk, and it was important that every other person or persons in this revolution should ask that our IG is right for staying in power, but our IG and its administrators must review some of their policies. Thank you. God bless you, and stay blessed. Bye for now. I was just going. Some people say I should update on the NAC. I don't have update because I'll follow up with the other activists, and then we can have update next time. Thank you. Bye once more.